Hey guys, Daev'ja here with another Destiny 2 Forsaken video. This time we're not looking at any one specific weapon. In fact, we're going to be looking at technically the horror stories, what the footage is of, but this is about the state of 450s in the current game and why I think they weren't buffed, and if they need one now. So the one we're going to specifically be looking at is the horror story. The horror story is a precision frame 450, red dot micro, flared magwell, zen moment, rampage. I put on a counterbalance stock and a reload speed masterwork, and for those of you who don't know, you could have only gotten this auto rifle during the Festival of the Lost in October. We assume it will be coming back, but there is no promises. Generally speaking though, all 450s play just about the same. There's very few that have anything super special going for them, those probably being the ringing nail and the breakneck, but in general most 450s are going to be the same experience. So currently, the 450s that we have to look at are the Horror Story, the Tiger's Bite, the Hazard of the Cast, the Breakneck, and the Ringing Nail. My personal favorite is the Horror Story, but generally speaking, I feel like the Ringing Nail is probably the best of these. Generally, if what you want on them is simply something to deal with stability, whether it be Zen in a moment, tap the trigger, under pressure, any of those is fine. Even dynamic sway reduction is good, because that's generally the biggest weakness of them. The fact that they have so much kick while they're automatically firing, so just something to gently tone that down makes it a lot easier. It's not insane, right, but it's just something nice to have because it makes the gun feel overall more consistent. And that is what 450s have been known for, is their consistency. In Forsaken, in the time to kill change, they were given the ability to 8-tap, combined with their fire rate and their time to kill, it made 450s stand out as the most efficient auto rifle archetype because they could most consistently hit their ideal time to kill in practice. And with the most recent update, all other archetypes were buffed as well, and it seems they were all brought up generally to what the 450s felt like, because now 600s, 720s, and 360s all feel very consistent and feel like they're actually worth using. I would even go as far to say I believe that now 600s are the best archetype of auto rifle. Combined with their time to kill and their fire rate, they only take 9 shots to kill as opposed to the 450's 8 for quite a few more bullets a second. So all this being said, I want it to be clear that 450s are not bad by any means. You know, other auto rifles are good and that's a good thing. 450s are still strong. Strong is relative, right? 450s are by no means meta. You still have to deal with pulse rifles, hand cannons, and just tons of other weapons that have insane time to kills that you can't box. And that brings me to the point about using auto rifles. Obviously, we discussed that you want something to make things more stable, but it's also important to mention that auto rifles are a more passive playstyle generally. You get your kill, and you play it slow. You're not going to be constantly chaining kills. On occasions, you will be able to proc Rampage on your Horror Story and or whatever gun you're using with Rampage, and be able to mow down the next guy in your times, but generally, you don't get to play super aggressive. You don't have the most competitive time to kill, and there are definitely weapons that outbox you. So what you end up having to do is play a lot more casually, play a lot slower, but that doesn't mean you can't have a high kill good game. You just have to calm down the ape inside of you just a little bit. And that makes auto rifles an incredibly tactical weapon. You have to think about what you're doing and make quick decisions on the fly in order to stay efficient with them, and that's why I like them so much as a weapon. Combined with that, and the fact that you have to consistently track your targets for kills, it's an overall very satisfying feel for me, both physically and mentally. So now the question comes, do I think that they need a buff? And the answer to that is, well, it was no. I thought they didn't need a buff and I thought they were fine. But the last word coming out really has shaken things up quite a bit. Last word coming out means that there is now a weapon that deals with your effective ranges just as well as you, if not better generally, along with bringing more snipers into the Crucible, which is another weapon type that auto rifles really don't deal with too well. So between the last word and snipers throughout all of your games, those are two weapons that just make 450s a little bit less worth using. I still think they're good and I still think they're fine, but before I wouldn't have even asked for a buff. Now I think the range might need up just a little bit on these babies. And the reason here I'm specifically asking for range is because, for those who don't know, the last word is effective up to 20 meters in range and or 22 meters within range when scoped in, with a 0.53 time to kill with 3 headshots or a 0.8 on 4 body shots. It becomes very hard to win that duel at your effective range with an auto rifle. In fact, just about impossible, I would go as far to say, because they have a much easier luxury than you do there, because you have to land all headshots for your time to kill to be competitive against their 4 body shots, which is a lot easier to do. So you're saying, okay, go out of the last word's range. Well, that's upwards to, generally with most auto rifles, only about 30 meters. So you only have an 8-meter distance that you have to try and constantly be keeping. And with the size of some of the maps we're given, it's not exactly something you can consistently do. And I want it to be very clear, I do not feel in any way that the last word needs nerfed. I think the last word's fine, I think the last word's a great gun, and I'm very happy it's in the game, but it's just a little bit sad to see that it happens to be very good competition for auto rifles, and it's shaken the Crucible up and made things just a little bit worse for a gun that's already not considered top tier. So this all being said, I don't even 100% think that they need buff. As I've mentioned, they're a tactical weapon that requires you to do a different level of thinking, and adding new hurdles into the way isn't going to stop me from doing that. Whether they're good or bad, I'm just about always going to be using 450s because they're the weapon type that I enjoy, and the playstyle that I've grown to love.
Could go there.
If they get buffed, then hell yeah, sure, I'll always take a buff on a weapon type that I enjoy. Sure, let's go for it. But the point of this video is to bring it into the public eye, because generally speaking, this isn't something people generally care about, right? Nobody sits around and goes, I wonder how 450s are right now. Except I do, so mentioning it, hopefully bringing it into a couple people's eyes, so maybe people will talk about 450s a little bit more, and maybe we'll see some change in the future. So, I've done what I needed to do. I talked about the weapon type, how it plays, I talked about why it didn't get buffed, and why it may potentially need a buff coming now. So now, for the first time, I've covered my points ahead of time, and I'm going to leave you with the rest of the footage. If you like the video, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, skip right to the end so you can see my other social medias, or just look in the link down below. Share it with your friends, do what you want, it's all up to you, and I bid you a good day.
They've taken the lead. You can turn this tide. Three minutes. You're evenly matched. That's why we have fire teams. Double down. This is wonderful. Two for one. 3 opponents down. You gained the lead. One minute. Hit them hard. Double down. 3 opponents down. Now you're fighting with heart, Guardian. 30 seconds remaining. Ten seconds. A victory well executed. The weight of the world was on your shoulders, and still you triumphed. Marvelous. 2 for 1. Zone A lost. Guardian to the right of you. Guardian to the left of you. Guardian in front of you. Volleyed and thundered.